Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Pop Gen Fusion. It is a podcast that we discuss fun things from pop culture in different generations, and we fuse it all together. I am one of your co-hosts, Gary Gibbs II, aka Okami, and I'm joined with the man, the myth, the legend, Pandy.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super excited for this. This has been a long time coming, and yeah, it's about that time, and it's good stuff. We got a lot of good stuff going on.
Now, I am a voiceover artist, and I am the founder of a company called Command Grab Entertainment. We are an audio production company. I will edit your weddings. I will provide you with voiceover. I employ staff of other voiceover artists, and we do a lot of different projects. One of the projects that we're doing is we're working with Moonlight Studios, and we're bringing forth dynamic manga.
You think that puny sword can hurt me?
Which is an audio visual version of manga, and that's one of our joint ventures. And we've been friends for a long time, and we decided to work together, and now we're bringing you this cool podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're excited for this because this will be like a really good opportunity for you guys to kind of see a little bit of like insight of like, you know, how we work, but also I think is really cool of just how we kind of think about things and how we go about just creating things. There's a lot of like, you know, inspiration that we pull from, and so we're really excited to kind of have you guys, you know, just check it out and see what we're doing. So, but we're definitely hoping that this podcast will be really fun. We want to, you know, talk about a lot of cool things, but also give that insight of like just being a creator, and you know, like with Gary being or Okami. Sorry about that. We gotta do these pen names.
Either or, it doesn't matter.
Like you ruined Batman's identity. But it's almost like a kind of a dream come true of like you have a voice actor and kind of like a manga artist and stuff, and then I dabble in animation as well, and so that's something that I think this is going to be like just a really cool insight. So yeah.
One of the main things that that we're here to talk about is the release of Moonlight Studios' first full volume book, which is Gogoganzi right here. We're gonna get a close up of that.
Yes. Everybody right here.
Your magnus opus now. So you've been working on this particular book for how long?
About what, three years now? Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, I remember when you announced it.
Yeah, no, it was I really underestimated the power of the manga. Like I really thought it was gonna be like
the power
of the manga. No, I really thought it was gonna be really quick. I remember telling people like, hey, it'll be out this summer, and I think I started in like January or February and stuff like that, and so I really underestimated it, but it was a learning experience that I would never take back, because it just it kind of intensified my love for this art form. So yeah.
And when we met, I saw you. We met at a convention years ago, at Awesome Con in DC, and you wasn't quite an official manga artist yet at the time, right? You did art, and you sell something like your fan art and sell. So like for me to see you finally start a book, like when you did and you announced it on Instagram, I was like, oh snap, like he's about to do it. Like it's about to be crazy. Like he should have been doing this. But but then it was this long wait. So obviously it was a lot that went into it.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, and it was it was again just a learning experience and stuff, and we'll definitely either throughout this podcast or future shows we'll definitely talk about kind of the good challenges and kind of the not so good challenges, but yeah, it was definitely a long time going, but forgot what I was going to say.
Now, those who may know, seeing some of your work, and now they know you as a mangaka doing Gogoganzi. How long have you been doing art in general?
I mean, I know it's very cliche to say for a very long time, but want to say, I know, like people be like, oh, I've been drawing since I was like 6, but like,
but I've been drawing since I was 6.
But I've been drawing since I was like 6. Yeah. But as far as like professionally, like freelance and stuff like that, really taking it seriously, I'm probably around 2000 like 9 and 10, like just really kind of I'm getting into it and stuff like that.
But now you also do, like, this is obviously like inspired by like Japanese style, manga style, but you also are proficient in like Western style. Like one of the pieces that I've seen you do, you did like Wolverine and stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that was doing the kind of like the commission stuff was kind of getting me back into the kind of art scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, yeah, that just really kind of got me into it. I've always been a fan of manga and anime, so it was one of those things that I never saw myself as doing kind of manga.
But why?
I know it's I think
I say that because like I feel like your skill level is like, yo, why wouldn't you have done this?
You know, like
you didn't look at it as like a career, or not even a career, but just like I'm gonna put a book out. I mean, obviously you came to that conclusion at some point.
Nah, I mean honestly, I never unfortunately now I see the light of the manga, but I never thought it was something that was for real. Like it was a fandom. It was something that I was like, oh man, this is like a really cool fandom. I
feel the same way about voiceover.
Yeah, no, and we're definitely going to be getting into that because I feel again this is just a really, to me this is a really good kind of like fusion. But yeah, I never really took it, kind of seriously. Now, when I was younger, we used to do, kind of make our fan made, mangas and stuff like that. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because I think like manga is a youthful thing. Like, I feel like it's something.
Comic books in general.
Yeah.
Comic book in general.
And like it manga exudes that sort of, youthful energy and stuff like that. Shonen is really, really popular. So I felt once you got older, you kind of have to get out. I know for me, I kind of subconsciously maybe got out of it a little bit. And I thought comics was the more mature, pinkies up kind of thing and stuff. So
what made you decide to go like? You could have went two ways with it. You could have created a comic book, a Western style comic book for those not understand what I mean. But you chose to go manga. Mm-hmm. Like, what made you decide to go manga versus just writing your own Western style book?
So I did for I want to say around 2011, 2012. Like I wrote a comic book and was really getting into it. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that.
So, I mean, to be clear, like when I say you could have went Western and you went like manga style, like let's talk about like the physical book, manga, Goganzi. Mm-hmm. It's done traditionally from right to left.
Yeah.
It's you went and you got the paper as close as you possibly could to that style they're using. This is, for all intents and purposes, this is a Japanese style manga. Mm-hmm. So you went ahead and you got that done. You feel you said, I'm gonna do this the right way.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean I shared a little bit about this on some other platforms, but like I it's not like I did a lot of like comics, but I felt like I've kind of mastered the kind of understanding because I was kind of teaching, how to do comics. So when it came to this, I was like, I don't have anything to kind of show like, my students. So I wanted to kind of put together something as close as possible to kind of an actual manga. And the more I started working on it, I was like, man, this is really taking me back to like my childhood days. And then I was like, man, now again, to see the light. I was like, no, I'm actually in a better position to do kind of a full-on manga and kind of make this kind of a career and stuff. So but it's an awesome art form, and it's something that now that I'm older and I'm more kind of mature with I guess seeing not being blown away by like the illustrations, but really diving into like what makes kind of manga and what makes it so kind of dynamic. I have a real big appreciation. Yeah, all right, and we'll get into that too.
Yeah. So we just had some technical difficulties. This is episode 1.
Yes.
So these things happen.
It wasn't my fault this time. No,
it was exactly his fault.
Exactly.
And it was his phone. One of our camera 3 was down.
It was really my phone. I just had too much awesomeness on my phone.
I'll agree with that. Too much fire.
Exactly.
So let's go back to discussing that you started drawing manga, and creation of Goganzi was because you want to kind of show something to your students. Yes. And as you was drawing it, you got kind of fell in love back with it.
Yes.
I saw that kind of passion when I seen your art, like when we first met back in I don't know what year it was, but years ago. But when it was your Outlaw Star win, Gene Star win.
Oh yeah.
And your Gene and Mugen.
Just real quick, shout out to all my Outlaw Star fans.
Outlaw Stars.
We need to make some sort of fan club because I feel like there's a lot of underground Outlaw Star, and we'll talk about that.
And Yamcha fans. That's another story.
This is only Yamcha fan Pop Gen Fusion. Get some.
So when I first saw you had that, I saw that passion in like the art of it. So it's like goes back to like when we first met. I actually that was what popped out to me was the Gene Star one with the colors and everything. And I remember because I met you and I met your wife at the same time. Yeah. Love you, wife. Yes. And one of the things she said to me is that you didn't just draw a random fandom. You drew what you liked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that was something that like, and of course, when we started, getting more into kind of talking about our inspirations, you'll quickly see, we like a lot of different things, a lot of classics, a lot of new stuff as well, but a lot of classics, and definitely Outlaw Star I consider that to be a classic. And when I did start doing fan art, I try to only draw things that were really that I liked, just because it was kind of weird. If I didn't really like something, it'd be hard to kind of like gush about it. If I'm like, oh yeah, I like My Little Pony, and nothing wrong with My Little Pony. I've never watched it, no, I take that back. I've watched the old school stuff, and that stuff's pretty good.
I was like, are you a brony?
Yeah, I know.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, absolutely. But yeah, so that's something that I really try to strive to do, is to do only things that I was really into. Sometimes that gets me in trouble, just because like sometimes as an artist you have to be willing to do things or draw things that you just don't feel like doing. So
yeah.
I mean, as a voice actor, that's definitely probably something similar, correct? I mean, that could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you pick your projects, I guess, just like what you accept but you're gonna be more passionate about more things you're into.
Gotcha.
Versus stuff that's like, guy number 5.
Yeah.
But but you gotta, but like I said, you have more passion with what you like, but you gotta come with it either way. If that's people paying you to do it.
Yeah. No, definitely. And again, we're going to get into all of that, kind of stuff about voiceover, just because like I feel it's starting to, well, let me ask you, like where do you think the voiceover kind of game is right now? Because I feel a lot of people are giving it love. What do you think? Actually, I'm so sorry. Let's start from the beginning. What got you into voice acting? Because I feel like that's gonna give a little bit of clarity for the answer that you're gonna give.
Well, I think what got me into it, I always like putting on voices and I guess acting, but not like officially acting, just playing around, right? When I was a kid, up until now, like I always was the person who tried to figure out who did the voices for stuff, and things are easier now with the internet, but before I used to kind of like really try to figure it out, like, oh, this is Cree Summer, this is Keith David, you know what I'm saying, this is Rob Paulson, like, and when I would see their names on the credit. I mean, you see their names on the credit, but like a lot of people, everybody ain't paying attention to that. But I really did.
Nah, definitely.
So,
definitely.
I was in every aspect, Western, whether it be movies, whether it be, anime, I would always try to figure, English dubs, I would try to figure out who did the voice for what.
Gotcha.
And I guess as technology has grew, you never see it as like a viable career, like, because you always, one of the things when I used to go to conventions, I used to kind of, as I was saying.
Yes.
What was I saying?
Just knowing about the voices.
Whenever, you would try to look into, like, you ask voiceover artists, like, how did they get into, because that was always the question. People were fans, especially if you into something, especially like with anime, like, yo, how did you start that? To do it so, they would always say they would just fall into it. Like, I was a stage actor.
Yeah.
I did some radio, and next thing you know, I'm asked to do this voice, and then it ended up kind of becoming a career. So it's never sort of as a viable career path. Like, how do you do that? Like, I'm not gonna be a stage actor. Like, I'm not passionate about that. Although I probably feel like I could do it now, but like it just never seemed like that would be the avenue. With technology and things like that, it made it easier.
Yeah, gotcha.
I started playing around with the story that a friend of mine wrote, and I started doing voices on it. I was like, I was reading it like an audio book.
Awesome.
Then I would throw voices on it.
Yeah.
And then, I would put it together with the sound effects and stuff like that. That kind of plays into what dynamic manga is, like what we do with that later. Yeah. And then I kind of like found a community of people that were doing it, and everybody, you invest in it, you get your mic, and you learn the software, and you kind of like see that there's like this market for it, and you feel like, hey, I can do this. That was probably about 8 years ago. Gotcha. I started doing it more seriously between like the last 5 or 6. Really started taking off the last 4.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got into that. You do have to learn different things now with the internet. Like but it kind of makes you better, because most voiceover artists now, like, they know how to engineer their own stuff.
That's interesting.
Even though in the amateur level, like, you kind of start off, you kind of get your mic, with this a USB mic or something. You learn the software, you learn how to edit it, cut and paste, and a lot of people's first demo, they might put their own. Some people don't recommend doing it, but you kind of learn to put your own first demo together.
Oh, that's interesting.
There are people who are professional that do that, and you'll always get the best demo that way.
Yeah.
But you're kind of learning, and that's good. It's always good to kind of like be familiar. Like, if you was a rapper, that you get familiar with knowing how to engineer your own stuff. That way you kind of know what you want when you go into the booth.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, that's very interesting. Oh, that's very interesting. I mean, I know I was definitely like impressed with, kind of the skill level, the range. So I guess we can talk a little bit about, we talked a little bit about how we met, kind of on a friend base, but as a kind of how we met on a professional base. This is the greatest story that I think like anybody's gonna hear, because it like the skill level was there, and it was kind of a chance meeting. I would like you to tell the tale.
A chance meeting as far as like us meeting and us.
Chance meeting of us working together as far as going into the dynamic manga. Just because like Yeah, I'll let you tell me.
Well, I'll start back to even go back to the fact that when I met you, I was a fan, right? So, and we got along, as they say, famously, right? We got along real well. We, rapport, but you never want to like belay the moment too much. Like, I don't. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to figure it out. Like, what I wanted. I knew I wanted to be involved in this kind of industry, kind of how I wrote a little bit. I was dabbling in the voiceover thing, and I kind of want to be involved, but like, you're doing manga. I just was a fan, but then I'm talking to you, and I'm like, yeah, I'm working on some things, and you don't want to sound like the guy who's always saying that to these people. You always got these people who you see that are like doing it, and then you always got somebody that comes up, a fan, like, yeah, because I'm kind of working on something too, and they're like, oh, they're like really being polite. Oh, cool. But so, being like, a fan, I just kind of was like, but yo, you also cool, but then you don't want to kind of like you said, just linger.
No, definitely.
we exchanged Instagrams or whatever. We became cool, like online friends. I would see you occasionally again at other cons.
Absolutely, yeah.
When you were doing other projects, like I know you had that what's they call it in the art world when you have the when you had the showings. I showed
wait, the gallery?
Yeah, you had the gallery.
Thing. I'm trying to think.
You remember when you had the different stuff on display? It's been so long ago.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think now.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Well, no. I'm trying to think of. It's been a long time. But no, I'm trying to think of the
drugs.
The word.
No, but anyway.
I'm sorry. I failed that.
So the point is, we kind of like, it's like we're like doing like cool associate kind of stuff, like, right? So as I'm doing this journey, I'm doing voiceover art. I'm kind of learning how to engineer my stuff. I'm also getting into video editing, right? And then I see you kind of like putting your art out there. And then one of the things I saw you do, let me rewind a little bit. I started taking other artists' stuff, comic book artists, like web comic stuff, and I started throwing voices on to them.
Fool! The angrier I become, the bigger I grow.
And editing them for fun.
Which just real quick, and I do want you to remember this, like it's kind of interesting a little bit about. Well, actually, I'm so sorry. Let me let you finish. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we had enough interruptions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a thought.
No,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I started throwing them on there for fun, and also because it was like for practice, right? I wanted to do characters that never had a voice before. So many, and this whole concept isn't new. People throw voices on comic books and web comics all the time, but usually they're like fandoms that are well known.
Yeah.
The amount of fandubs of My Hero Academia that I've seen is crazy.
And I think, and just real quick, I think that's what I was kind of thinking about. It's an interesting concept that as a voice actor you would do fandubs.
Yeah.
Just as an artist does sort of like fan art and stuff like that. So I'll tell you, the more that we kind of do this show, the more you're gonna kind of see similarities, and it's just a really interesting concept, hearing more and more about voice acting and seeing how it really kind of correlates and sort of brings things to life.
Like fandoms are great. It's one of the things that kind of helped me see that it can kind of be a thing to do it in a professional capacity, because one of the projects I saw, like I said, a lot of people do fandubs of like well-known properties, and to me it's like, I guess because these guys already have voices, so you kind of just, it's not as special to me. I don't know.
That makes sense.
So I saw somebody took a this is Webtoons book. It was done by a Korean artist. It's been translated on Webtoons. It was called Super Secret. And it's like a kind of like a, I guess they call it, what they call it, slice of life-ish, but romance.
Yeah.
About a girl meeting a boy who's like turns into a werewolf. It's very cute and charming, right?
Yeah.
And it, like, as a webcomic, it was cool, right? So, but I was intrigued by the fact that this group of people like did it, like they did a full cast. Now, everything wasn't professional and stuff like that, like mics, and some people sounded like they were recording in the bathroom and stuff like that, right? But the fact that they did it, and I was interested. I had never read the webcomic. I was just like, what is? I was watching. They did like a good, and the episodes are real short, like couple panels.
Gotcha.
So the actual, so I guess what they did was they kind of combined them into like one or two episodes by taking the small panels and putting it. But it was done, and it had sound effects, and I was like into the stories. I was watching like it was an anime. I was like, this is kind of a thing. Yeah. And they kind of just stopped. I was like, I kind of want to know the rest of it. I mean, I could go on the Webtoons and watch it, but I was like, this is good. I was like, yo. And it was for a property that wasn't a well-known property.
Interesting.
So it was like they were the voices.
Yeah.
To me, my exposure to that was the voices.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I was like, what if I did that for like another property, right? And I started dabbling and doing it kind of with other little webtoons, web companies or whatever that I saw. And then as a voiceover artist, like, I was getting roles, but the market is always, you're always auditioning. And I do stuff for, I I've done stuff. I've been hired to do answer machines. I do what they call explainer videos. Oh, yeah. So I'll do any aspect of voice, so not just the acting, but just straight up narration or whatever. And that's fine. A lot of times that stuff actually pays more. Oh yeah. But you know, you always kind of want to do character work too. Yeah. And but my way of, you know, I guess putting my own self on was to kind of create my own thing. Yeah. But I needed like a muse, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So I would take different properties, and I guess when I got to a point, you were my perfect muse, right? But the first thing I did was what was I thought was gonna be a webtoon. So like I was like, oh, he's doing books now. He was Toichi.
Oh, that's right.
It was Toichi, which was like your little parody of kind of the muscle bound kind of
Fist of the North
Star.
Kangen Ashura.
Anything that was like the big burly guy, and
absolutely
over exaggerated muscle mass, but they're like teenagers.
Baki, absolutely.
And I knew exactly that's what you was going for. Like I felt we was here with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So when I saw it, I was like, I know what that's. Even with the tough but effeminate bad guy.
Yeah. Oh, the bacon.
Bacon, right?
Honestly, we will clue you guys all in on this stuff. So with some pictures. Yeah. It's that.
Like I knew exactly what that was.
No, that is funny. Oh my god. Yeah. No. And well, I mean, when you kind of dubbed that, like, you know, and again, take in mind, I did not know any of this was happening, which I think is just a really cool and very smart way to kind of just, you know, get your talent out there. Yeah. But it was, like,
I don't know how I would have asked for that. Because you could have been like, I guess, or I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that's why I feel like this sort of partnership is very interesting, because like having like we know with like anime and dubs go hand in hand, but like, you know, as you kind of said, how would you ask for that? Yeah. But the thing, like anime, I mean, I'm not doing anime, but like this goes together. Voice acting and kind of like, you know, manga turns into anime, so you would think that a person would sort of, you know, jump at that. So I find that interesting that you kind of was a little hesitant about asking, because, you know, I'd have been like,
you know,
man,
I've seen so many artists, they be like, don't take my stuff without permission. Don't repost my stuff without permission. And they be serious about it. One of the things I saw that was funny is cool. There's this guy I follow on YouTube. He's a voiceover. He's an official voiceover artist. And I actually think he's even in the new God of War game. Gotcha. And he's done other stuff. His name is like Sun Won Chan.
Okay.
And he's like, he's American. And he has this really deep voice. Yeah. And one of the parodies what he was on was this. It was like a parody of Yu-Gi-Oh called Uno. For Uno.
Oh, he did that?
He did one of the voices for it.
Oh, gotcha.
But there was the whole staff, everybody was in it, was good. I thought it was funny, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed that the artist, I tried to find the artist that did more stuff. And she was like real, like, I don't know if she or he, I think it was a she though. And it was like, don't take my stuff.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know if we was talking about that. I know they got her permission. I think that was permission. But the idea of it kind of like, oh man, I can't be just grabbing stuff and voicing.
Man, that's, I mean.
But that was another example of something that, taking a property that didn't exist, and they just did it. Yeah. And it was fun. They had all the tropes. Like he played like the super serious, I think, I think he played the super serious, like, analyzing guy.
It's a draw 2 card. Once that card is placed down, it forces the next player to draw 2 more cards in their hand, gaining more cards and putting them at a disadvantage.
It's a draw 2. You know, they always do that. Exactly. You know?
No, definitely. I mean, some of these tropes are just like, I mean, classic. Like, I don't think you can ever like wear them out. Like, I know some people will be like, tropes I don't like, but there's certain things that like are just classic to me.
Well, that's one of the things I was gonna get to before we got cut off like 2 million times was that
technical difficulties.
So like you decided, you know, which for your students, I'm gonna do a manga. You go guys. So you went with the aesthetic, right? The left and all that. So you figured, and you said this in the previous like interview, like there are some rules to this.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the difference to you between doing a manga and a comic book? Are they one and the same?
Yeah, I mean, kind of when I teach the.
I mean, I know what I feel about it.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I mean, definitely, like, when I teach the comic class, I mean, I would consider, like, manga is Japanese comics, and so if you had to put them in a category, as an English speaker, you'd be like, comic. But there are definite rules. Like when people see it, like, I mean, even the tropes, like, I feel like people take those for granted. That there are legal tropes, not necessarily legal tropes, but there are tropes that people be like, oh man, here we go, the nosebleed trope, or here we go, this, and this. It's like, there are all sorts of unwritten rules that when people see it, they know it. With American comics, I feel like, the story is kind of its trope. Like it's not necessarily a I want to be, the Ninja King. It's not any of that. It's like, the internal struggles, this, the that. Both mediums are really cool, but there's definitely rules, like, when making
what's
manga.
the difference between a manga? Because like you said, manga is by definition, it could just be like the word for comic book, right? Mm-hmm. But I think speaking it from a Western point of view, it's different. It has to be different, right?
No, it definitely.
So, but what's the difference between a Japanese, a manga inspired comic versus a manga?
I think it's exactly what it is. It's inspired by it. So you're almost doing kind of like a hybrid type of thing where it's inspired, but you haven't gone all the way.
Yeah.
And again, Pop Gen Fusion, like, it's a personal preference of what you want to call it. Now, you can call your sort of like cartoony thing a manga. Now, it is up to the audience to look at it and be like, yo, I love your cartoon comic book. And if you feel some type of way of like, no, this is a manga, like, that's when you'll start to accept, like, man, there are rules to this. Now, again, just putting it out there, when it comes to the sort of whatever the Japanese comic artists make, I would consider that a manga, because that's the word that they're using, manga. Like, we already have a comic word. So I feel the difference between inspired is you are taking kind of a hybrid kind of effect to it,
and probably mostly aesthetically.
Yeah, definitely aesthetic. And again, that's just going back into anything you want to be a part of. You're gonna study it.
Yeah,
you're never gonna come to basketball and be like, I don't like dribbling a ball, so I'm just gonna hold it. Kind of like a football. Be like, well, it's my definition of basketball. It's a hybrid. Like, I mean, I'm being out there a little bit,
being a little facetious.
Yeah, but like, I mean, every art form has rules. I mean, voiceover. It's like, I don't like to speak in the mic, but I'm a voiceover. It's like, well, you do have to, like, do some things. You have to know a little bit about it and stuff like that. So, but I do feel like, when it comes to be like manga, like inspired, there's places for it. And, if that's what you want to kind of call it, kind of like an Americanized like manga, that's totally fine. Again, it's personal preference. But I know for me, I wanted people to look at this and be like, man, like, that's a manga. And when they find out that, I'm not Japanese or anything like that, then they can have that personal freedom to be like, nope, I'm a purist. I don't, if he's not Japanese, I ain't trying to mess with that. And that's totally fine. Like, that is totally fine, because, like, it's a personal preference. But when people do see it, like, I do want them to be like, yo, this manga is awesome. So I don't know if that answered the question.
I mean, no, it definitely does. I mean, I agree, and we've had discussions before about it. It's very much you wanted that to be. You could put that on the shelf next to Dragon Ball, in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh man,
and Black Cat and all the other, and then no one would know. That's the kind of the point.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that was definitely the point. And not even just like I definitely would say my style is kind of classic and retro. Like, it was something that I want to have that I guess that would be my style. Like I love the classics, and even when I'm doing kind of new style stuff, like I still want that sort of classic thing, you know, to kind of be there. So yeah.
Goganzi on sale.
Yes,
MoonLairStudios.com.
absolutely. Yes, Goganzi, first physical copy from Lair Studios. Definitely go and pick it up. It's a great read. Money back guarantee.
No money back guarantee, but it's awesome.
Her head and saying no. But we give you stickers.
So Goganzi.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Goganzi is a secret. No. I'm gonna be like 80 years old. I'm gonna be 80 years old and on my no.
You gotta cop it. You gotta be like, Goganzi means like whatever it means to you. You know what I'm saying? Your Goganzi is different than my Gogo.
True. Be like, Goganzi is just hate filled. Like you're like, no. But no, like I definitely want to like I like things that are kind of obscure, and I definitely want to wait until like it's kind of completed to kind of discuss that a little bit. But I think you'll start picking up hints of kind of where I'm going with that. But yeah, yeah.
So Obasi, the main character, he had a bit of a different look in the concept.
He did, yeah, absolutely.
What made you settle on? Like, because he had a different hair color too.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had more of like a black hair. And his hair is like white with the red streak in it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into detail about why he made the red streak. I don't know if this pertains to the story or whatever, but like why go with the white versus what brought you to that final look in general?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a different kind of story that I'm trying to tell. I kind of moved it to more of kind of like this fantasy thing and like just the color concept was really, really nice. Like I felt like it went well. And again, just kind of, you know, introducing some of the characters that I really liked growing up and stuff like that. You know, having those inspirations as far as like, you know, the haircut. And if you know, the pigtail. If you know, you know.
You know. Well, that leads me to a couple questions. Anime, manga related. Are there any particular series or artists from these series that are, if not inspirational, people that you really admire? And what would be your top 5 series and your top 5 movies? You know, because we gotta separate them.
That's true.
Movies could have OVAs in them. You know, for
That's
those
true.
who don't know,
Yes.
original video animation.
Yes.
Or OAVs.
Absolutely.
You don't see too many of those anymore.
Which is a shame. I mean, I guess the last of it was like kind of the Naruto thing where they were doing a lot of those like standalone kind of things.
I guess.
Okay.
No, like, I guess. But it's part of a big series. So
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
true.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
the last OAV I think I saw was like, but it was for History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi, and it was after the 26th episode. Well, I think it was 50 episodes. I think it was at the ones that were released, and they did one that contained maybe the next couple of chapters. Yeah, and I thought that was gonna be like a way for it to come back because it's a great series. But
really good.
But yeah, so what are like a couple?
So definitely
style wise, and I guess series or whatever.
Yeah.
And
big fan. I mean, we kind of a little bit talked about it. Like Outlaw Star, I think that has great watchability, and even for Goganzi, the style of kind of storytelling and kind of you know episodic and just kind of the meaning behind the Outlaw Star, kind of like a boy turns into a man, which we'll talk about that as well, just because.
A boy has the right to dream.
This man was relentless with the fire and the heat, and it was we'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that. But like searching and exploring. Like I mean, I'm the type of person. If there is an open world to a game, I'm not doing any missions. I'm just exploring because I like the idea of exploration. So Outlaw Star was definitely a big inspiration as far as storytelling. When it came to kind of design, big kind of like Tenchi Muro fan and stuff like the design stuff he did, and kind of same thing with the story. Rama 1/2, like Rama 1/2 was pretty good. There's
Number one.
Yeah, I'm telling you. No, I mean, there's so many. Like, you know, I mean, obviously, I would say Dragon Ball Z played a big part. It played a big part as far as like anatomy goes and stuff. Like,
You know what Akira Toriyama doesn't get, I think, credit for as far as art wise. He draws really cool looking vehicles.
he does. No,
And nobody talks about that. They talk about the hair,
Yeah.
and the power and the fight and all that kind. But the early designs, even the ones like I seen on your rack, like the motorcycles,
I'm telling you, yeah.
the spaceships.
The whole the capsule core thing, yeah. The whole, I know.
It's real cool looking.
It's really, really good.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
He did the art for one of my favorite games of all time, Chrono Trigger, and I'm if you look at his style, I'm pretty sure he designed the Epoch, which is the ship that he used to time travel.
Yeah.
So it just looks kind of like a lot of stuff you would see in the early Dragon Ball stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, definitely. There's just a lot of, there's a lot of great creators and sometimes I don't even know their names like that of like the creators.
That's why I said like series maybe.
Yeah.
Because if you may not,
Yeah, there's just, and I mean, that was one of the, the for me, the highlight of discovering kind of like anime at such a kind of an early time and stuff like that. You would go to like, either Blockbuster or Suncoast, I don't know. And again, if you know, you know. So,
if you know, you know.
But yeah, just seeing these things and just be like, yo, I love this. Final Fantasy, like the Crystal, I forget the name, but like there was this anime and like, just his whole design is like I didn't realize subconsciously like just really inspired some of my work, especially in Go.
And I remember when it came out, but I think I was a little turned off by Final Fantasy doing stuff that wasn't games, so it kind of kept me away initially, and I watched it later, as like an adult. I definitely see that as an inspiration to Go Ganji, but looking back, I was like, this should have definitely got more love.
Oh, absolutely,
in general. But I was like, I think they had the Spirits Within movie, which was bombed, and I did not like the movie, and it was like, to me, I was so like with Final Fantasy was like it was so. Each game had to be like a number, and it had to be like a certain narrative. Like I think it messed me up when Final Fantasy, I think it was 11 was online, and it wasn't like I was like, this is stupid, and then it's like Final Fantasy 14 did it later, and that was it. But by that point I was on board. I played it.
Gotcha.
But so the Spirits Within was bad. So that the Crystal is it just called? It's called the Crystal.
I think it's like
Crystal Legends or something like Crystal.
I think
so. Not Chronicles, but that's a game.
I just remember Crystal Legend, maybe.
I don't know, but it was it's surrounded those crystals because the 4 crystals were an integral part of like Final Fantasy lore in general, like going back to like Final Fantasy 1. But yeah, like I definitely see that like how you can kind of
like.
But as an artist, you see little stuff like that maybe no one else is thinking about. That kind of captures.
No, absolutely, and it's those little details that like I again, I want to kind of be known for that kind of in my work, just like those little details and stuff like that. There's just a lot of series and stuff like that. And it's, the thing about the whole Ramen 1/2, which again, like, we talked a lot about that, and we sort of bonded over those things, and it kind of worked out really, really good, because when it came time to Okami's final form or final push to just really go for this, he did something that, like, because we know so much about these, like, old animes, and we're a big fan of both of them. Some of the voices and some of the comedic timing and some of those things you really captured. And I know that doesn't seem like, of course, because you guys, kind of share that same bond. I was not in the room when this man did all this stuff. And so it was just an amazing kind of thing. And I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about that, because like, that's something that still flabbergasts me still to this day, because like, I wrote this.
Tell me more how I'm awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you how he's awesome. No, because like you think you're the for me. Because no one's talking about Ramen One Half, no one's talking about kind of Tenchi Muyo and all these sort of classic
They're kind of becoming forgotten in a way.
They are, yeah. Outlaw Star. You think like for me, I'm thinking that I'm the only one who kind of knows this, and I got some of my writing chops from them, and so when I'm writing some of this stuff, it can kind of be a hit and miss, especially if like these animes are not kind of real popular and it's not kind of the comedic thing to do and stuff like that, kind of like slapstick. So when Okami presented to me like this voiceover for the first chapter, like he was just hitting all those comedic timings and stuff like that, which again it fascinated me. Let me hear kind of your approach to this, to just doing the first chapter and stuff.
So I think it's one of those things where it's kind of annoying to us that people don't know all this stuff, but it's gonna works to a benefit. Yeah. I feel like what was old will become new in a sense because so many people aren't
prophecies.
So many people aren't exposed to like this stuff, right? Yeah. Everyone acts like animes kind of just hit this boom and it's been around, and people are kind of just like. I talk about the RDC World guys. I love those guys, but they were talking about like their generation kind of like started. And then you had was it a couple years ago? I think like Demon Slayer won, or maybe it was last year. Like Demon Slayer won, and Twitter won the best anime of all time. Yeah. But none of the other stuff was even on the list, or but people haven't seen it. They feel like stuff is old or archaic, they don't get it. I'm sure people haven't seen a lot of stuff. And the oldest one I think a lot of people have seen maybe Dragon Ball Z and maybe Yu Yu Hakusho. There's so many other obscure things.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
So my approach, like I said, I think you're as an artist, I think you're great. I think you're amazing, right? But I think as a writer, comedic timing, I think you're hilarious.
Oh, I appreciate it.
But going back to AK Yumi, right? When you drew with Darius Lockhart, right? And he jump kicks Cody, I think it was I laughed out loud.
Quick, Cody, move to the other seat.
What?
I think it was funny. So and I feel like a lot of, and I don't want to drag people, but I feel like that's something that's missing from a lot of younger people. They're getting into it and they try, because that's what anime is, especially shonen. It's like a hybrid, right? Yeah. You do action, but then there's drama and there's also comedy. And they're kind of dropping the ball on comedy. I feel because they're not studying it. Or you want to remove yourself from the tropes so much that you kind of you got to introduce some new ones. That are just as funny. And a lot of these tropes come from culture. Japanese culture. So if you're not versing yourself in that stuff, you're kind of missing out. If you make it a point to not be versed in that, I'm gonna take this aesthetic, but I'm not gonna learn that aspect of it because we're gonna do something else, then you have to come correct with the other stuff. So when I saw your stuff, I was like, I know exactly what he's going for. And I want to hit it because I know what it is. Even in the beginning, chapter 1, which was a preview for a while, which I was like, all right, this is my chance, because I think at this point you had already released AK Yumi. You had done because you had decided to put that out there for reasons. And
actually AK Yumi.
For reasons.
This is true. And, listen, I'm under a lot of stress. No. Which actually, I just want to remind you guys, AK Yumi is coming back. Hopefully next year. It's going to be in a magazine, actually a digital magazine called V Series. And we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. So just wanted to plug that in. Get it.
So when Goga Ganji, when AK Yumi dropped, you just dropped that out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So I was already working on chapter 1. You'd already put the preview of chapter 1 out, and I was like, all right. I was like, all right. He puts out something for free. I can dub that. He already put out to the masses for free. You had put out AK Yumi out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I gotta get on this. I wanted to put my hand on anything just because I felt like, I don't know why I felt like somebody else could have did it. I just wanted to just be the one to grab it.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I had worked on. I had somebody on my team, my editor. I had found an editor, and who's great. And she worked on it. Meanwhile, I'm doing voices and casting for the very first time. Well, I had casted before, but this is like, I'm like really trying to come correct with like my casting on this. And I knew that I wanted to do Obasi. Like,
that's interesting.
It was kind of like,
it's just a humbling experience, man. Seriously, you guys have no idea. And
I was prepared to. I was gonna be involved. I was gonna voice somebody, but I was prepared to not voice Obasi. I really wanted to, but I was like, if it don't work, if it don't fit, it don't fit. I wasn't gonna probably be selfish. I just wanted to do the project. But a character like Obasi, even on another level, a character like Senzo, they're like dream characters to voice. All you like when you do get into voice acting, these are the type of characters. I'm a young guy, and he's doing a coming of age story. I was like, I want to do that. I want that role. But then Senzo, he's the master. Even like on a lesser scale, like casting, he's like the rival. Like I got to do all the and I started out by doing it. I took your original like post. You did like some profile and random screen things you did. I put that together first. I think.
Oh, okay.
Did the Cartoon Network style thing. Took the theme that you did and you produced it, and I put it together. That was like me learning how to do this. I mean, I kind of already knew how to do, but it was like I get better each time I'm going. In the midst of me like actually having. First of all, I got to read it, and I was like, this is he put this work out. And imagine like you to me, you were just like you were an artist who just did really good art, but now I'm seeing your writing for the first time out of nowhere. And I like it a lot, and it's good. I feel like it's good. I could follow this. Yumi was good. It was a simpler premise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throws you right in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always thought it was a standout against his contemporaries in that,
Oh, I appreciate it.
But I wanted to be involved. I gotta get on this for somebody else to get on. Yeah. But then at the same time, I'm nervous because like I'm doing all, and it took me a while to do it because of like different things that was going on, and trying to like make sure that everything. I wanted to make sure everything was tight, perfect, and sound effects, and that's when I was like, I'm gonna throw the sound of all the sound effects in the world that I can possibly throw in this thing, because I wanted it to be an immersive experience. I like the idea of motion comics. But I hate motion comics. They're so
controversial.
They're dry and boring. Because they're like they don't show. It's like they just let you kind of just read. They let you read it. Like some voices are very slow.
That's true.
But that going back to that super secret that series, it was. I felt like I was watching it. It was. They didn't even put a whole lot of sound effects in it, but it was like, I like this. I can follow this. And one of the series that really made me feel like this can be a thing was Metal Gear Solid. I think it was Portable Ops, and it was. Oh my god, Peace Walker, which is a PSP game.
Oh, okay.
Now, because they didn't have the budget to do full-on cutscenes, they did these kind of comic scenes. But full-on sound effects, voice acting, interaction, immersion. You didn't even feel like it was just cool. I was like, this is. I would. They even released a book just like that. I mean, it was digital, but it was just the PSP thing. I don't think they've released it officially, but you can go on YouTube and you can look them up. It's real fast and fluent. I was like, this is what I want to see. Like if you're gonna do a motion comic or a motion manga, this is what I want to see.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen motion like motion comics, and that was something that was really exciting for me. Like and I just want to say this really quick. I didn't know that. I mean, everybody who does manga, the holy grail is like anime. So I didn't know this was an option. Like, and it's such I think it's such a kind of an eye opener to, I know for me, but I think for a lot of kind of like up and coming like manga artists, because now it kind of gives your character a voice, like And it's such an amazing experience.
That's kind of from my perspective, it was a little unnerving too, because it was like when I did it, it's like if he hears it, is that what he? You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So that's why I said I was prepared. If I felt like I couldn't do it, like Obasi, I was like, I would shift it to somebody else.
Man.
I wouldn't have wanted to, but I did want my hands on it.
Gotcha.
You know?
And I mean, honestly, like if you guys haven't seen it, we're gonna be talking about the dynamic manga, and you guys are gonna be able to kind of see what we're talking about. But knocked it out of the park, like as Obasi knocked it out of the park. I mean, honestly, my wife actually, filmed my reaction to it, and I was just, I mean, it was almost moved to tears, just because like this was something that's only lived kind of in your head and kind of voiced in your head, and now to actually kind of see it, fully voiced, almost and moving a little bit, like it was absolutely amazing and so like that. So like,
just wait, you guys see volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
It's
gonna move even better.
Yeah, no, it and let me ask you this. So just to kind of clarify some things, like I want Lair to be like a I like doing multiple styles. I like to have a range of multiple styles that I like to do. And one thing that this was kind of a blessing, just kind of meeting up and teaming up, is the range of voices that you do, and kind of the range that your voice, or that pretty much you can do. Like, how did you develop that? How did what's your process? Like, all those different things. And then if you can remember all these questions, like, do you think voice actors having range is an old concept? So I don't know if you remember any of those questions.
As far as like my range,
because you do, just to clarify, like Obasi, you do Senzo, and again, if you don't know any of these characters, encourage you to pick up the book.
Buy it. MoonLairStudios.com.
Yes, MoonLairStudios.com. Pick up the book. It's a manga. It's packed full of just really awesome content. So if you want to know these characters that we're talking about, definitely pick up the book.
But listen to what we're talking about. We're talking about, you're asking me about voiceover for a book. That's cool. That's cool. That's great. So it's like this hybrid, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole point of dynamic manga is, and I'm gonna try to answer your question, but
no.
Like when a manga becomes an anime or anime, whatever you want to call it, Japanimation.
It's anime.
It gains something a lot of times, depending on the budget. I mean, on the budget and the studio, but sometimes it loses stuff. Yes. Sometimes you lose some of the integrity of the original art form. And the cool thing about dynamic manga is that it's the exact same art that the artist did, whether the artist is good, bad, whatever. It is what they originally drew.
Yeah, that's true.
We're moving the panels around. We're moving the sound effects, and we're moving the visual sound effects, and we're putting in sound effects. And full cast voiceover. It's like it's a real production.
Yeah.
And it's a like, that's the best way I can say. It's a real production. You have to treat it as such.
Yeah.
And like it is an anime, so like you get that like real hard work that goes into it. This is not a fan thing. Like it's real.
And that's the thing that I think is going to separate a lot of kind of what you were talking about with like the the fan dubs and stuff, like kind of treating it with kind of respect and treating it with like the same sort of rules, going back to rules and stuff like that, treating it like a full-on production and stuff. Because I'm telling you, when you guys see this, like it feels like when I first saw it, I was like, this is madness.
I had to wait like hours for you to actually see it.
I know, like it was I was I was at work at the time, and I was like,
your wife was, I'm gonna show Andrew. I'm like, okay. 5 hours later, I was like, yo, he probably thinks it sucks.
No, anything but that. And again, I because I knew what you did with Toichi, I wanted to like,
and even at this point, it gave me a little bit.
No, absolutely. So I didn't want to rush the process and just watch it like casually. we me and my wife, we sat down, we put it up on the.
That's
on the
crazy
TV
that y'all
screen
did that
and experienced it, and it was just like a manga. Like I'm telling you,
what made you decide like you were gonna do it this way?
Put it on the TV?
Like
I mean like it was such a huge moment. Like I mean and like watching it on a little screen would have been good, but like honestly, I don't think we like.
What was this car ride home?
Oh,
like,
I wasn't speeding.
I know it was like, but the fact that it's like you got a car, you know, and y'all are like, all right, this is what we're gonna do with you.
Yeah,
it's like
So the torturous thing for for my wife at the time was she was already home. So it was me kind of like racing home and stuff like that. So, but when she came in, or when I came in, she was like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, let me just like, get situated. And
I would have talked like
no, it was an amazing experience, and it was truly an honor. And just real quick, because I do want to get your answer about these ranges. If it didn't work out, where your voice was not up to kind of like if I didn't like it, let me just say, if I didn't like it, I would have been like, it's still a humbling experience to have someone like really believe in your work. So I definitely wouldn't have been like, this is trash, it is out of here. No, definitely not. Like I would have been like, oh, thank you so much, because I know.
Just don't do it again.
No, like I mean, honestly, like when Go Ganzi like becomes like big, and Moon Lair is doing good things. Like I always find it fascinating when people do like fan art and stuff like that. Unless it's really really like offensive, then I'd probably say something. But no, like I mean the skill level, it's amazing feeling when people believe in your work. So if it wasn't good, I still would have been like, oh man, really appreciate it. Now if you were like, hey, like let's collab on something, I probably wouldn't do it, just because like I just don't see us moving forward. But last thing, I kind of felt the same way about you, of like, man, I gotta let this dude know I'm serious before anybody finds him and been like, yo, I felt like I needed to kind of show him, I'm like, yo, I'm serious about this. This is the future. So yeah. But anyways, back to your.
I just want to say, I can't wait till Go Ganzi, gets to the point where people are like, when you were crafting Go Ganzi, did you discuss the dichotomy between just some random stuff, and he's like, yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah. They be like, really? Wait, what did you say?
What did you say again? Nah, range. I've always, I guess one of my heroes now. It's kind of funny because he started off as being like, oh, he's a hard dive. They just like him, which is Idris Elba, right?
Yeah.
And he said, because I like what he does. He just, especially as a black guy, right? Yeah. He does different stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And he was saying in an interview, because he does so many accents, he just says, I'm just a mimic, right? And I'm just like, and that's kind of what I could just kind of, I've always just played around with different like sounds and
there's a skill
voices.
level to it. Like it's it's not just like copying. Like some people don't have the ear for it.
Like
so
both my parents sing, and I've always had an ear for different nuances in sound and range and like just inflections in your voice.
Yeah.
So like, I've always been able to try different things, and kind of, we, like I said, I play around. My brother, he does voices, and we all kind of just messed around, and to actually try some. The biggest thing that I kind of had to learn doing voiceover is we taught all our lives to use our inside voices. So I had to learn to use my outside voice sometimes. When I want to yell. And that's what I tell people when they especially when they're working for me for the first time and they're trying to do something. And a lot of times I work with professionals, people do it, but there might be people I know are talented or just kind of getting their feet wetted.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you gotta come for it.
Yeah.
You gotta come for it and just yell
that's interesting.
and just come. You know, don't. It amazes me sometimes that when people they'll record something and they'll play it back and they'll turn it in, like even for audition. I'm like, come on, man. You know,
man,
you're not even. Come on.
Not
and
even
I encourage
man.
anybody to like, especially if I have a project, I'll like always audition because different people sound, you know, have different ranges and different, you know, voices, and you don't know what works. Like what you told me before, like with one of our actors who played horror, you know, his voice was different than what you expected.
Oh, absolutely.
But it kind of worked.
It worked. And again, just having kind of the ears, you know, the ear and kind of that instinct. And I'm starting to have a real appreciation for, you know, kind of directors. A lot of people, you know, they kind of big up the director because it's kind of an artsy fartsy thing. I never really understood what a director's like role was.
Yeah.
But you know, talking to Okami, it really gave me some insight of like, no, this is just as much skill as anything else. Like you have to kind of see it, believe it. And one of the characters, Hara, in the book, I kind of drew him kind of very young, but you know, the voice actor like had a little bit of a deeper voice.
Listen, you know I'm rooting for you.
And it worked, like it, but
a lot of bit of a deep.
Yeah,
He's pretty deep.
It worked because it almost symbolized his sort of like kind of like older brother type of thing, and I think that's the reason why it worked, or I know it worked because if it was a younger sounding voice, it would have been kind of weird having this very mature conversation, you know, coming out of this, you know, kind of younger sounding thing, and that's something that. You know, that's what a good director is. That's what a good, you know, person who listens to, you know, or who knows this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
when I heard
Big
it
ups,
myself, when I heard it myself, I was like, but then I kind of like really heard it. I compared it to other voices that you know that audition, and I really liked, especially when he's giving Obasi advice.
Yeah. It sounds really good.
And I feel like, you know, Hara was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
A lot of times, by the time you're that age, if you're going to have a deep voice, it's there already. Like, you don't turn 25 and your voice gets deep all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You've already hit puberty.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like it kind of worked.
Yeah.
And then it kind of really went, especially since I play Obasi as like a higher pitched character, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when he was kind of being... He wasn't being whiny at the time, but he was really like, yo, she's... And that goes back to your comedy writing. One of the things that's funny, there's that pause.
Yeah.
When he's like telling her, you know that I wrote her this letter and that, you know, she said it was just sweet. It was just kind of like nice guy stuff. And and the heart was like, yo, that's great.
That's
you know,
great.
Like, no, it isn't, because I want this romance. I want her to love me.
I'm telling you.
What?
No, it didn't work. I confessed my love for her and all she said was that sweet.
Well, what did you expect her to say?
Yeah, which everybody has kind of gone through. Like I know when I was writing that, like that was from an experience, and I think a little bit of an American experience versus like, you know, that manga trope of like, you know, wanting like. And again, we can kind of get into that.
But I like to see the thing is the way you did in that space, right? And I encourage you all to pick up the book and read it, and you'll see for yourself.
Let's pick it up. It's
go
nice.
and
it feels amazing.
Moonlightstudios.com.
It feels really, really good. So go ahead and get a close up on that. Let me stop.
But I think that's an example of you taking something that you feel is Western, right? But you did it in such a way where it felt like it was part of the tropes, right?
Yeah.
I could easily see that being in an anime and like that pause, and of course I was with the sound effects with it, and I knew exactly what you was going for.
And that's and again, take in mind, I was not in the studio with him. I was not contacted for any sort of consultation of like, hey, is this what you were going for? Not even like a text message of like, hey, how do you pronounce the names? He got it all right.
I didn't get Mira. That was the only one.
But I mean, even with Mira and like Myra and stuff like that, it was just one of those things of like, you can chalk that up to just accent and stuff like that. You know, anime, manga.
But we got that corrected.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
The cool thing now is like I was able to do that, you know, with Command Grab on my own. But now, he said it before. He wasn't in the studio, but now he's in the studio, or I'm in the studio, and we're working together officially.
Dropping bars.
Bars.
I sing too. Yeah,
Coming soon.
I know, there you go. CDs. You think I'm playing? If you know, you know. Anyway, yes, no, I definitely want to be a part of this, and that's where the different range of like art styles come into play. But that's why like having someone who's really talented about the range, like you're gonna be doing multiple characters, not just in kind of the same style that we have Go Oganzi, but in different styles. So it's gonna be a really amazing experience and stuff like that. We're actually working on a project right now, Tenkai Tenjin, which is gonna be awesome. I don't know. I mean, do you feel like dropping some heat of some spoilers, or you just want to tell people to?
Well,
stay
I just
tuned?
will say, my love for the 90s and Super Sentai goes into this book. And you'll see that coming soon. We have other projects from Lair coming first, so I don't want to skip the line.
I got you.
know?
No.
But the art is fire. We already got some fire art. So.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And again, it's just like, I mean, this is definitely like, again, without gushing too much over each other, this is definitely like a match made in heaven.
It's a fusion of sorts.
It is a fusion. Oh snap!
Yeah.
That's right.
There you go.
But yeah, no, the range of voices I think are amazing. And it's something that for me. Oh yeah, let me ask you this: do you think that is going out of style or going out of
To have range.
To
actually answer your question.
Yes, because, and I say that because, like, again, just being kind of, both of us having that love for the old school, Ocean Dub. If you know, you know. Some of these people were doing multiple voices, like a 5-man crew are doing like up to like 16 voices and stuff like that. I mean, all the way to like the little cat. If you watch Sailor Moon, like you would hear some of these voices and be like,
I don't think it'll ever go out of style to like have range. Like it just gives you more opportunity.
That's true. Do you think people are doing it now? Like, do you think some of the either like up and comers or the people who are in the industry now?
Seen it too much with a lot of up and comers. It's definitely something that's from the old school. Yeah. I mean, you see it now. I'm not going to act like it's not happening at all. But a lot of people are using their familiar voice that you can. I knew of that.
Yeah.
Like Billy Kometz, rest in peace. He had like a real distinct voice. He just passed away. I think it was last year.
Oh man.
And he's very young. But he had. I heard his voice in a lot of stuff, and it sounded like his voice. His voice,
yeah.
And he reminded me. His voice reminded me of I can't remember his name. Oh my! I know who he is, but he did the voice for Moroku in Yashi. He passed away too, and the voices are very similar, of that style.
Yeah. Wow.
And but those voices were good. They were good voices,
Yeah.
necessarily like not different.
Yeah.
They just were good voices. Sometimes you just have to be good, and you have to just know how to act.
It's like when people nowadays, they don't pay Denzel to be nothing but Denzel. Like, I mean, like the Magnificent Seven, like we need this Brooklyn man to be this old Western guy, and he has no like Texas or anything accent and stuff like that. And I feel like The Rock is kind of doing the same thing. Like, let's just get The Rock.
Yeah, just get The Rock. And
but yeah, so you feel like, I mean, if you're good, you're good.
Yeah. If you're good, you're good. Like. Even the ones with range, right? They'll like Keith David, right? It's Keith David. You know when you hear his voice.
Yeah,
he doesn't flip his voice a lot of times.
Yeah.
But then there's some like that do have a distinct voice that you know them from multiple times, but then they also can do something range that's different.
Yeah.
But they'll have one voice that they use over and over again.
Yeah.
So it just depends, like.
Makes sense.
Timing is everything. You have somebody like Troy Baker who's real big in like He did anime in the beginning. He did like he does a lot of video games now.
Oh, gotcha.
Troy Baker's range is crazy, but he does have one voice that he uses a lot.
Yeah.
But his range is crazy.
Yeah,
But he
yeah.
does have one voice that he uses over and over again.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But like you'll have that one or two voices that people will know you for, but then you'll do something completely different. They'll be like, "Yo, that was Troy Baker." You know, so
yeah, no,
you know?
no, absolutely, yeah, and I mean that's something
I don't know what that is for me yet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's interesting, and again, it's just an amazing experience to kind of like grow with such a person who has this talent and stuff like that, and to see like what people are going to, or what you're going to be known for, and stuff like that, and I'm super excited for it. Like I know when it comes to like art styles, like sometimes I find it a little bit kind of not necessarily boring and stuff like that. It's just like you want to always like challenge yourself and stuff like that. But now, is that something that you will be kind of like are you searching for that one kind of voice to be known for, or do you like kind of the challenge of doing different voices?
I'm not searching for one. I'll do what I do until you just never know how that's gonna happen. Like there's something's gonna take off. Like in some space I'm like the character I play on the Call of the Flame, Jinquo. He's pretty popular in the space that people listen to him in, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a comedic character. He says fun things, and him and his partner, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I was going to say the actor who also works on Gogo Ganzi with me, Zathan Zach. So he's really great.
Got some
Iticus.
great
His name's Iticus.
talent.
So
Right there.
is Jinquo and Iticus. They kind of their partner, and people talk about those characters all the time, like in the Discords and stuff like that. They love those characters. So, but I would love people to know me for. See, it's like I took all the cool characters from Obasi, from Goganzi, because I'm gonna be Obasi, I'm gonna be Senzo, who's like gonna be this heartthrob character, right? And then you got like people might even like casting, right? Because I think he's cool, So I could, so if I get known for either three of them, and I do more than just those voices, too.
Absolutely.
But those are like three that I kind of just stole for myself.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like I mean, when you believe in something like that, that's kind of the benefits of things, like because So I feel a lot of people, or a lot of like indie. I feel this is a good time for indie, creators and stuff like that. I think this is the best time, and I think that's why people need to pay a little bit more attention to these up and coming projects, just because like we're creating something from the ground up. That it's an amazing experience, and it's something that I don't feel. I mean, we'd have probably did it back in the day and stuff like that, but technology and social media and stuff like that has really made it very kind of easy for us to do this. I mean, even with this, podcast and stuff like that. I mean, my goodness, we would have to have like equipment and stuff like that. So
it's like it'd be like a radio. You'd have to have a radio station. Like it's just different now.
Yeah. So, so going off of that, what is the goal for Command Grab? Like, we talked a little bit about it and stuff like that, but like I know for Moonlayer, like I'm big in collectives. Like I want to encourage people to have their own thing. Ownership is king. I push that a lot, and that's something you'll hear me say constantly. Yeah. So when it was true, like when I heard your voice, I was like, yo, I need to work with this guy, because I'm telling you, Command Grab, Okami is gonna be a name that you're gonna hear a lot. Command Grab is gonna be a name you hear a lot. So what is your end goal? Because that's something I really want to push.
So initially the Command Grab in itself is a vehicle for me as a voiceover artist, but it's also become a vehicle for me as an editor and a director. It's like it's a way for me to do multiple projects and be able to showcase my talent in that way. I definitely, now that dynamic manga is a thing, I want there to be a space for that. Gotcha. Particularly with Moonlayer. Yeah. So we can kind of create something new. That's different. It's like it's it's familiar, but it's something else,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
it's like
absolutely.
there is motion comics, there is motion manga, but it's not always dynamic.
That's true.
Well, none of it's dynamic except what we do.
That's true. No, definitely.
That's what we do is dynamic. So make that a space.
Patent pending.
Patent pending.
There you go.
Trademark.
Yeah.
TM.
There you go. Yeah, no, and that's something that we've talked about before, like adding something new to the conversation, like but still wanting to add something new to something very familiar and stuff. And again, it's just been really good to work with someone who kind of thinks like that, as well. But yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Like voiceover is vast, right? There's voiceover is for so many different things. Car commercials. Explainer videos. Like I got hired to do answer machine for a business before. You know what I'm saying? So dynamic manga would be another avenue, because you have audiobooks, right?
Yeah.
This is another avenue where we can apply our craft and take it seriously. It's not like just as serious as like an anime, or
absolutely.
a video game.
Yeah.
Not just like this is our fun time thing. No, it's like not serious. Like like the actor. All of the actors really that cast for Goganzi and Akiyumi and upcoming projects.
There you go.
But like the character, like the guy, the Jared who plays Tristan, killed it.
Ika, hold on, kid, I'm coming.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
He killed it.
Yeah.
And they all took it seriously, and that's what this is. It's like a serious avenue. For acting.
Yeah.
And put like acting for properties that are real good properties that can get highlighted in a different way. And you got the physical book by itself, but then you have this where you can kind of it's this hybrid of like getting that feel of watching something. But you're reading it, but you're watching it. It's like a new way to read by watching.
There you go. No, absolutely. And I'm just super excited for just the future of this. And I definitely think this is the future, especially the way people consume their media and stuff like that. So I definitely think this is the future. So like I
would ask you, what's the
me?
What is the mission statement for
Lair
Studios?
The mission statement is definitely I want to create really good manga stories. Like I want to create really good stories. I would have to put in there too is to have fun too, and that's something that even with we have a great time, honestly. When we're talking, when we're now collaborating on things, like we have a really good time, and it comes having fun creates these sort of stories of man, what if we do this and this. So just back to the mission statement, is to create really good manga stories that can be adapted into video games, anime, clothing, it's to just really
Pop Gen Fusion merch coming soon.
Yes, definitely. Like we are already starting to work on that. And I know in the beginning, one of our jokes that we would always go to is for people who don't know, Funimation, and I guess you can quote me on this, but Funimation went under the name of Pioneer and stuff. In the beginning, and I know when I was younger watching Dragon Ball Z, it was Pioneer and it was Ocean Dub. Those, whenever you saw Pioneer, you saw Ocean Dub. Wherever you saw Ocean Dub, you saw Pioneer. And so that's something that we kind of joke about. We want to be like the Pioneer and Ocean Dub of kind of this new wave. I do feel like this is a new wave of independent creators that are going to really kind of change the idea of what people think of independent creators. Because
independent doesn't have to mean shoddy or
absolutely
or
not,
unprofessional.
absolutely not.
We come in with it. It just means there's not a super huge conglomerate behind it. That's the only difference.
No, absolutely. And that's and we definitely want to grow, but at the same time, we and I'm speaking for me, I want to have your opinion. I like the idea of the small mom and pop shop. I love the idea of a small Studio Ghibli, like small, probably not Studio Ghibli, but a small,
Probably started off
you
small.
know, yeah, like anime studio where it's literally just like, you know, just like no bigger than a bathroom or something like that. And these people are just working together. Like that's my idea, you know. Excuse me. So
Get back to work.
Get back to work. Yeah. But yeah, no, and well, I don't want to go into that. But but I was gonna say something about kind of the workload. Again, our you know, we
do
fun.
burn the candles at both ends.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But
it's fun. It's like we work hard and we want it to be as professional as possible. What I do and what he does, but then it's like we're still having a good time doing it. Like I can't wait to like show them new things that I've like worked on and sent. You know, especially if it's like I'm working on like Goganzi or like Moonlight properties, and like, yo, look what I did, and he's sending me stuff. It's like, yo, look what I did.
Oh, man.
And it's the funnest thing in the world. And then we're working on, you know, another Moonlight property, like we mentioned earlier. So that was we were like tired, but like energized like, at the same time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I know we got people, asking us, or actually asking both of us, like, how do other creators get in contact with us about, job opportunities and stuff like that. And we're definitely, again, we're small, but we're definitely working up. But just encourage people to have, as a collective, Okami came into this situation with just as much talent than anything. He didn't come in and be like, hey, can you give me a chance and stuff. So we're really big on hey, if we see we can kind of work together, like we definitely want to grow, but at the same time we're we want to have fun. We want to have that sort of like kind of family atmosphere of like, hey, how's everything going?
It's all about positivity.
Absolutely.
And you can be a fan of things and be critical about stuff, but you ain't gotta be like a jerk about it.
This is true.
Seeing a lot lately.
Yeah, and I know we said this before, but like really looking at things with a creator mind in mind, so when we do criticize things, it's not from malicious. We do understand the hard work that goes into all of these projects and stuff like that, and so
we're working on something for days, weeks that y'all might not even notice.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So it's and we're gonna have so many different episodes discussing going more in depth of like voiceover works, subs versus dubs, all those things.
The subs versus dubs,
and talking about like animation, talking about like what makes horrible animation. We'll talk about that because like I feel people can be like, animation sucks, but if they never animate it, it's kind of weird to criticize that. Why does it suck? And the same thing with, which I'm interested, why do certain dubs people quote unquote be like, man, the dubs suck, I hate this? Well, if you've never did a dub before, you don't know all the hard work that goes into that. So that's something that we are going to be kind of discussing.
Yeah, and maybe even further down the rabbit hole of what makes a manga.
This is true. Yeah, no, this is true. And again, like, these are all things, coming from kind of real life kind of experience and stuff like that. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. So
I am looking forward to it. Go to moonlightstudios.com.
Go to moonlightstudios.com.
Buy Coco Ganzi.
Yeah. Also, we are very active on our Instagram. So I'm gonna do my plug, and then I'm gonna have Okami do his plug. You can go to Lair _studios in Instagram. Again, very active on there. So
it's Command Grab _ENT on Instagram, and Okami Aniki, OKAMIANIKI.
Still very impressive. Because I'm like,
I had to concentrate on that.
Moonlair, MOONLAIR. I'm sorry. My producer looked over at me and was like, nah, don't do it. I didn't realize this, just real quick. I didn't realize this, Moonlair, we'll probably go into the, actually, do we have time? Do we have enough time to go into the origins of our names, like the Moon Lair and Command Grab.
Why not? So one, we do what we want.
Exactly. So like I know for me, like Moon Lair, I wanted it to be kind of like this lair where, you know, I get to work on these really, really cool things. And I love, you know, I'm a big fan of Thundercats. So like the Cat's Lair, that was something that was really, really cool for me. So Moon Lair.
So you took something from Western culture
Exactly.
to create something from Eastern culture.
Listen, that's a no. But I so fast forward to now where, you know, I'm putting together like Moon Lair stuff. I just got finished doing kind of a banner, and my wife politely pointed out to me that I misspelled Moon Lair and it was Moon Liar, and I was like, man, like how did I was like, man. And so now I have a nightmarish, like, just nightmarish anxiety about spelling something Moonlight.
So each time you spell out, you gotta like be real.
I double checked that, and I mean, I even, you know,
That's hilarious.
Me and my wife, we have a dog. I even have the dog spell check it, and it'd be like, "You're good." Anyways, Command Grab, interesting name for a voiceover company. Tell us the story.
Well, if you don't know, I am the one true king of fighters
He's strong, too strong.
Oh,
in
snap.
fighting games.
Controversy. I'm gonna do a count of how many controversy 2.
Shout out to Chaos himself, the All Fighter. He wants to call himself like the All Father.
Being called
Whatever.
out. Being called out
He will be a
now.
guest on our show. He's a voiceover artist for Command Grab, and he's a poet. He is a rapper. Anyway, Command Grab. I wanted something to represent like me, my interest, and my likes. I wanted just something that sounded different from some other things, and I had different names picked out. And even to this day, like I'll come up with a new name, like a new name for something. But it's like, no, I picked my name already.
Yeah.
I can't keep swapping it. It's a
Do you
business
have like
now.
AKAs, like AKA Big Daddy, AKA I don't even know. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, like, just like my own. I have a lot of other aliases besides Okami, so but it's like, no, you can't tell people too many. It's just like too much.
Gotcha.
But no, like Command Grabs is something that, you know, it's a type of input you put in the controller when you do a particular type of move. Usually it's a grab, but you can tell in the logo because there's a grab, and the silhouette in the logo is actually a friend of mine who was actually a former wrestler. So he's actually
I
doing
didn't even know that.
the grab move.
I always thought that was you. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Learn
So, yeah.
something new. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know
he's-
that. No, man.
I mean, I used to be there. I lost a lot of muscle mass. I gotta get back to that. That's another story. You see me at the conventions, I'm gonna be this.
Yes, I need to lose some weight. I'm just gonna put that out right now. You can follow my weight loss journey on Pop Gen Fusion. Pop. No, let me not
And
say.
subscribe to the Moonlight Studios YouTube channel. Like,
Yes.
share, subscribe.
And subscribe,
Go to
absolutely.
moonlairstudios.com. Buy
Absolutely.
Gogo Ganji.
Yes.
Look out for Dynamic Manga
Yes.
coming in 2023.
Absolutely.
And buy a poster as well from Gogo.
Yes.
From Moonlight Studios.
We got some really cool posters. These are like exclusive.
Buy the first edition version as well.
Yeah. So this is the first print, and we put that on there, and we thought that was really, really important and stuff like that. So if you're like a real collector, or not a real, like you're not a real collector or whatever, you're a real collector. I believe in you. Listen, if you would like to have a version that you open and a version that you don't open, that's the reason why we kind of wrap these and put these stickers on here. This is the first edition physical manga, and also the poster is the first edition. Like each with each volume coming out, I will be trying to do a poster of all the characters that are in the book. So posters are on moonlightstudios.com. You can go there, only $15. So once these are gone, we don't know when we're gonna kind of break them out of the vault. So but we try to make sure that they are, you know, exclusive somehow. So definitely check them out. We got a lot of cool stuff on the website as well. So
Yeah, check out
you will be
Moonlair,
satisfied.
Command Grab. Together we are Wild Stallions. I don't know. Pop Gen Fusion together.
Exactly.
Pop Gen Fusion. And stick with us. It's gonna be real cool.
Yeah, no, we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of cool topics, and definitely the Pop Gen Fusion merchandise will be dropping. Hopefully, very, very soon. You'll know when you see us with the hoodie.
Yeah, you'll know if you did. As soon as we wear it, you're like, oh, they got merch now.
Yeah.
So I mean, we haven't had an official way to end this podcast, so I'm gonna steal from the show called The Weekenders, the Disney show.
Oh snap!
Just say,
what's happening?
Later days
and cool summers. I don't know. All right. Take care, you guys.